I'd like to take a minute to thank this week's sponsor, Shred Claw Apparel. It's a brand by guitarists for guitarists. Shred Claw is a one-man shop, printed and shipped out of his garage in Southern California, featuring artwork from super talented artists from all over the world. On stage or in the pit, we have your back. Visit www.shredclaw and use code UnsignedPopPunk20 from now till the end of February to receive 20% off your apparel. Get this dope-ass shirt. Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? Podcast about life in the music industry. This week, we zip and we zap through the waves of the internet all the way down under.
We hit
Australia.
And we hopped. And we like hip-hop.
We hip-hopped like a freaking kangaroo. No, I don't know.
That was dumb.
That was so
I'm sorry,
dumb.
I'm gonna call you out on that.
But you know what? You know what though?
I would have done the same, to be honest.
But we did. We zapped through the internet waves down under to talk with our good friend Rhys from the band SoSo.
And I'm not missing it.
So.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a good time.
It was a good fucking time.
Good time. Good
and,
looking dude.
Yeah. And now that we're on video, hey, now that we're on video, you guys actually see people. This is good. This is awesome.
Yes.
But like with that said, like, you know, he gave some really cool insight about what it's like to be in a band in Australia. And something that we take for granted here in the US is the amount of space and the amount of people that we have here. And that's something that they don't have over there. So it was really cool. Stick around, listen to the episode, have fun with us, because this is like honestly what it's about. And let's get into it. And welcome back to another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go, a podcast about life in the music industry. And today, Pat, we have Rhys from SoSo. Well,
how's it going, Rhys? How are you doing?
How am I doing? Not too bad, all things considered. You know.
What if he was just like, nah, shit, but like, I have this podcast to do.
Yeah. It's bullshit.
Fucking bullshit.
I've been feeling terrible this whole week, and I've just dragged myself together just for you guys. So.
well, you heard it here, folks. First, folks.
It is a really wild time difference, really thinking about it, you know, because it's like, what, 1 p.m. there, right?
Yeah, so it's 1 p.m. So I was like, fuck, I don't know if this was meant to be 11 a.m. or 1 p.m. So I'm just going to like block out my whole Sunday. I had heaps on today, obviously. Like I wasn't just doing nothing all day. But no. It's a pretty wild difference.
Yeah, because it's 8 p.m. here. Like we're getting ready to get my kids to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, pretty much that's it. Like, but like tangent real quick. Isn't it fucking cool how like technology is like able to connect us with people like all around the world? Like ideas like you and I have, Pat, for like, hey, we want to start this like thing called Unsigned Pop Punk. Like it only works as well as it works now because of the fucking shit that we have. And now we have Rhys from SoSo here, just from Australia, just on this fucking podcast. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
cool. Well, that got about the right response that it did.
No, I mean, it is cool, but it's one of those things though that like I feel like, I mean, we obviously had pre-pandemic because we had all this shit, but it was like we didn't use it. You know, we just fucking didn't. Yeah. You know, for no good reason, really.
Literally none.
But I remember always telling my band, you know, for the longest time, like all the things that are commonplace now, like, oh, we should, you know, film us. Oh, we could film like little videos where we don't even have to be together. You know, we could film all these things separately. And like, no, this is stupid. Let's not do that.
How do you guys feel about that, right? Because I don't know, I'm gonna just interject here right now. This is like, it's not as cool. Like, how's the word to like? It's just not as cool. Like the whole being in a room with the whole band and like with the crowd. It's just, you can't beat that, right? And it's just something a bit weird and like, I don't want to say dorky, but like, you know, it's just different to like, you know, oh, you record a part, we kind of slap them together. It always, I need to get over that hump and just be
Yeah,
like,
it's definitely like an obstacle. And quite frankly, like let's talk about that for a second before we actually get into this podcast. For anybody out there right now who's like, you know, during the pandemic or during all this shit, like that's really wanted to start a band, and you kind of like your first experience as a band is doing things remotely. Well, that's like the norm now, right? Like it definitely, like Rhys is saying, it wasn't always the norm, but but even now, like even before the pandemic, we had people like demoing shit, writing shit, sending it over. Like that's literally how oh fuck, what's the post fucking
The Postal
Service. So it's literally how the Postal Service started their band. And and now we're in a position where like we're kind of forced to do it. Now, back when I was in my band, like, you know, I had you know, Alec was over in Indianapolis, Victor was over in Minnesota, I'm in like Madison, like 3 different people in 3 different states. So just because of that difference, it was a lot easier to write remotely. But even when you're talking about, hey, I can't go see my friend and give him a hug because we're living in a pandemic. Hopefully this sounds good live. Like, what does it even sound like with energy in the room, you know? And we had this podcast, like you guys heard just last week or a couple of weeks ago with the Wonder Years, where he was like, we only write shit that we feel like we can play live. And that's paraphrasing. He didn't say that exactly, but like what he was getting at was the energy in the room. You know, like being able to play that with the other musicians. And dude, you're not the only one, man. Like it is a obstacle and a hurdle that like everyone is trying to figure out how to navigate that. Some are better than others. I suck at it, but you know, yeah, absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe it's just a generational thing. Like, I don't know, maybe we're a little bit older, so we're just used to that. But from our perspective, how we write, we're in a room together, man. That's how we do it. So it's very much an old school way.
Dude, I saw this this video with Vanilla Ice. And like, yeah, you know, he's like older now and whatever, but he had a really good point where he was like, back, like he said, like the 90s was the last what was it, like the last cool generation. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this video because it's fucking Vanilla Ice right now. So he's like, it was like the last cool generation. And then he was like, and it's because of social media. He's like, you used to be able to, like, you used to have to find the new styles because of the bands you listen to, and you used to have to go looking. There was like a need. You'd have to go to the mall. You'd have to go here. Basically, we have now become a generation of instant gratification, where it's like you see something's cool, you can instantly look it up on Amazon and get it in 2 days. He's like, it used to be a thing where you would see the person who found the trend and want to mimic that and imitate that and figure out like that and go that way. He's like, that's why the 90s is the last cool generation. And there was some truth to that. We like, and with what you're talking about with being like a generational gap about like jumping these hurdles, that generational gap is huge. Like the amount of people who like are in middle school and even fucking just getting into high school downloading TikTok to try to be the next star.
Here's my butt.
You know, there's so much fucking I'm going to use the word disassociation between what was our place growing up with music and jamming out in a garage to where we are now, where it's like, hey, I just wrote this thing on, you know, Logic. I'm going to email it to you. You know?
I was going to say, man, like it's spot on. I remember the only reason I got into Alkaline Trio was because there was a guy, I must have been like in year 7 or year 8, and a guy I knew from a couple of years above. I saw him like getting on the trains going to the city to see some like band, and he had an Alkaline Trio shirt on. I just remember being like, oh yeah, like that it looks cool. Like, so then I like go home and get on LimeWire. I fucking start downloading like Alkaline Trio songs. I get like computer aids and like a couple of songs as well. And next minute, you know, you're an Alkaline Trio fan, and like because you've only got the access to a couple of songs or a couple of bands, you just sweat them so hard. Like you actually value it more, I think. Like at the moment, it's just, man.
Well, also like in the earlier, you know, 2000s, you had like allegiances to record labels and stuff like that, you know, like Drive Through Records. Like if you were a Drive Through Records fan, you just liked every band on there. And you could like Senses Fail, Homegrown, you know, the Starting Line, New
The amount of people that I started following because I loved Atlantic Records. You know what I mean? Like
That is
ridiculous.
That's a very big one to pick.
Well, I mean, they have a lot.
I was thinking like, drive through
Tooth and nail. Let's say
Vagrant.
tooth and nail records, right?
Tooth and
Okay,
Nail.
tooth and nail. Like I discovered Anberlin because of Tooth and Nail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
It was
Yeah.
like, and that's kind of what we're talking about is like, or in the earlier 2000s, you didn't really have, what you have now. What you were talking about, Bear, is like you didn't have as easy access. So basically you'd be like, oh, Blink 182. Well, what record label are they on? I want to check out the bands on that.
Yeah. And now because there's this international divide between us and Rhys, what is it like with that scene over in Australia? Is it very similar? Is it different? Are we hitting on any kind of like similarities or points?
Look, there's a lot of similarities. I guess like the biggest difference, because like, look, man, I love the US. Like I've got a strong affinity.
It's okay. You don't have to say that.
We have strong opinions about the US too.
Yeah, it's
They're
all right.
probably not as nice as yours.
You guys have got like a lot more going on. So in Australia, the scenes, it's pretty small. Like it's pretty homogenous. Like, so I guess like there just isn't that same level of, obviously the massive bands overseas, we get those. And then we obviously get like a couple of bands from us, but there's just not as much room. Like, you'll find a lot of bands. I think Violent Soho, for example, one of them that they shoot off to the States first, man, just to get there. There's just not enough room for all these up and coming bands. And you end up like the majority of people kind of like the same bands in genres just for sake of there's just not that many around. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, for example, Escape the Fate, when Situations came out, it was like, that's the time that everyone got into Escape the Fate. And when I was like watching that originally, I was like, fuck man, these guys must be the biggest superstars ever. They totally weren't, but because of the way it's gone through Australia, like it's like, and we had this massive, it's just like we can't conceptualize how small they were overseas in the US. To us, they were huge. It's weird, man. Small pond over here. Definitely a small pond.
So do you find it? No, Pat, you.
Okay, so I was just gonna actually like, how is like the pop punk and like that genre scene like in Australia? Because so much like I get so many good submissions from bands in Australia. Basically, anytime a submission comes through and I see it's from Australia, I immediately assume it's going to be pretty good. Like that is just the assumptions I get based on my submissions.
Yeah. Look, the scene, like the bands here are strong, man. I mean, it feels like there's a massive resurgence at the moment with pop punk as well. Like, obviously you've got Stan Atlantic and yours truly that are just absolutely smashing it.
Oh, yeah.
Red Hook still kind of falls into that pop punk kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And, a lot of us are working with Stevie Knight, so whenever we get in there with our producer hero, Mr. Stevie Knight, but it's just, I don't know how to say it, man. Like we're all jostling for positions that, we could all kind of pop off kind of thing, but it's just it's strong, man. Like I wish the population was bigger because Australia's got a massive thing for, indie rock and bands like Sticky Fingers and stuff like that. So a lot of the it goes over towards that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How is show turnout and stuff out there then? Is it pretty good?
Depends, man. It
Depends on how many of you are trying to play at the same time.
Well, it's that. It's also like it's just hustle, like how we kind of manage to, at the moment we can't even really play shows. Whatever shows we're playing, they're capacity like restricted, or they're seated, or they're getting cancelled on whatever. But when we were able to, before our last major crazy lockdown, we were just able to hustle really hard and get all the shows sold out. But it just depends, man. Like some bands, they've got that ground support and that groundswell, and they'll just hassle the shit out of their mates and mates. And so you can get really good turnouts. Don't get me wrong, but it's really up to the individual band.
Yeah. So we had a podcast, I don't know, probably halfway through this season of our first season with a band called Royals, and they're from the UK. And something that they brought up to us that I guess me personally never really realized is the lack of room in the UK, like just because of how small it actually is. And they would tell us about like, oh yeah, people won't drive 30 minutes to go see our band. And I'm like, dude, people around here like have to drive 3 hours to go see the band in the nearest big city here.
Yeah.
You know, so that it created that that division, I would say. So with what you're working on, or not working on, but like working through with the scene in Australia, do you find that the community is more cutthroat because of the fewer amount of opportunities, and like the more bands, the less dense the population, kind of a thing, or is it still everybody helping each other out to get to the next level?
I definitely think there's a lot of support in the scene, but I mean, look, there are only a couple of major labels and major booking agents that kind of putt around and do the bigger things, right? I'm not going to name them, but you know, to get tapped on the shoulder by those booking agents and record labels, it's definitely as much about who you know as to how well you're performing. And I think like when it gets to that stage where you're just about to slide onto those on festivals and whatnot, everyone's true colors comes out, man. Like everyone wants to make it, you know? Everyone wants to play. So there's always a bit of I guess healthy competition, man. But you always end up where you're going to be, right? Like where you're meant to be. So you just keep pushing, and the right people come through and support, and the ones who aren't around that aren't supporting, well, that's all good, man. Like not gonna hurt.
So Red, let's start talking about SoSo. Let's start doing this, man. Like the whole reason you're on the podcast, and don't get me wrong, I love this shit, but I want to talk about your goddamn band.
What do you want to know, man? You want to?
All right. So you guys started around September of 2019 and released your first song, the Henry Lawson Jive. In March of 2020, you proclaimed yourselves as offensively average, which, quite frankly, that might be my next tattoo. What's the story behind that?
Behind offensively average? Oh, well, I mean, we just thought for the bands, like we've been in bands before, right? And we just thought we want something that just really captures what we're doing with this next thing, right? So we thought it's hilarious to be like, yeah, like we're SoSo. Like imagine being on stage, you're like, hey, we're SoSo. Like, they're kind of shit.
Yeah, we're SoSo.
We're SoSo.
Is it right? And then I thought, man, how funny would it be if we put on this tagline of like offensively average? And like we used to work with a guy that was like just that average. Me in a work call like 5 years ago. And one day I was like, man, this guy's like aggressively average, eh? And my mate's like, no, he's offensively average. With me, man. And I just thought, you know what? Let's just punch that in there. And I think it just encapsulates it, man.
Dude, absolutely. That's awesome.
I love it. I think that's genius.
I think so too. And it goes perfect, like you said, perfectly with the SoSo. Like this is offensively average.
So you guys, then you guys released your second single, Shit Love Story. A couple months after the first single, and you got a really positive response from that, and so you've garnered a large following in a pretty short time, being together as a band. So I guess we already kind of talked about this a little bit, but did the online following translate over once you were able to start playing shows then?
Fortunately it did. Like, I mean, we're not talking like massive capacity shows, but you know, we headlined a tour ourselves, back in, oh God, that's got to be like January, February, March, of last year, and got them all sold out. You know, we're talking like 100, 150 cap venues. But that was just sick to be able to pull something off like that. I definitely think it's transferred pretty well. But yeah, just this whole stop-start thing of trying to, you know, keep the band rolling and trying to play shows and book shit. Yeah, man, it really is, especially when you're, unsigned and you're doing it all. You know, I'm the one who's going out there and booking all the shows.
Oh, it's like we know a little bit about that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Is that maybe what this podcast is about? Unsigned bands.
Unsigned bands.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, something like that.
Yeah, a little bit.
So
we got a wrestler we're interviewing next week, though. I think.
I think so. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we're all over the place. Unsigned wrestlers. I don't know.
Oh, she's a professional wrestler.
So she is signed. Well, she's out of our league, that's for sure. So I know we kind of already talked about this a little bit, when we talked about the Australian pop punk scene, but and you've kind of gone through like the hurdles of what it's like to write music and even to play a little bit. But what would you say right now in Australia for SoSo specifically is one of your biggest hurdles to overcome in 2022?
Just booking shows. Honestly, like I know this just sounds like a broken record, but we had a tour that we'd worked on that we were meant to play mid last year, towards the end of last year. That's just fallen apart. And to be honest, man, like we're in a little bit of a trough because you just don't want to book anything because you know that there's a high chance that it's going to be rescheduled. So we're just we're sitting on a whole nother EP. We're literally sitting on
wow.
It's
I don't know if anybody else knew that, but this could be an exclusive.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an exclusive. I mean, we just want to get the music out there, but from our perspective as well, it's like now we're in a bit of a battle between, well, do we give everyone something to listen to do them over, which would obviously mean that we actually don't get to play the shows to support it, or do we wait, and kick things off, into gear once we can play shows again? So I think it's just trying to navigate this whole pandemic.
Yeah, and on top of that, if you don't release the music, what kind of content are you releasing? Are people still sticking around? Is the online following actually still active if we're not doing shit? Like the amount of questions that have to be answered, you know what I mean? That we have to figure out, and it's trial and error. It's not like this, for each band it's different. So it's like you got to try something, and if it doesn't work, you got to try again. So dude, fucking yeah. All right, before we move on to our next segment, we got one last question for you. What is one thing that you know now that you wish you had known back when you first started out in music?
First started out before this band? Because I'm going to say
just in general, like a piece of advice.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about the terrible, shitty bands that we've been in before. So like just
that's a different podcast.
Yeah, but we could talk about your shitty bands before if you want.
No one wants
we're
to.
Here.
Do that and leave it in the past. That's one bit of advice. But if there's one thing that I wish I knew before we kind of kicked off this band is like social media advertising and going direct to the customer. Learn this. That's exactly what you want, man. No one cares about these mainstream legacy, news media and all the rest of it. Stuff like this, online podcasts, really direct to customer where you can speak to your fans. This is the best thing and the best thing you can ever invest in. Just go down that path. Don't waste too much money on any kind of other publications and stuff. That would be my word of advice.
Awesome. All right. And with that, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Thanks so much, everybody, for watching this video, and want to tell you about our new Patreon that we just set up. For just a few bucks a month, you can get new perks for things that we do, such as listening parties, interviews, Discord access, exclusive merch, discounts, and access to early announcements, and a whole lot more, and we'll continue to add things to it. And for just a couple bucks a month, you'll be helping us continue to do what we do full-time and continue to do more for up-and-coming bands, help us shine more of a spotlight on more artists, and we couldn't be more thankful for everything you guys do to help us continue doing this. So pop over to patreon.com/unsignedpoppunk and get signed up now.
And we're back with Rhys from SoSo. Rhys, again, thank you so much for being on this podcast. This is awesome, and I kind of falling in love with your voice, but that's a whole different story.
Well, he also has a character
oh my god
that he has created on our TikTok. He started out our TikTok and then has been too much of a shit to continue on his character.
Well, I mean, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen because of the festivals that are coming up. My character is called Bear Boy. He's an Australian festival guide about how to survive in the wild that is the pop punk festivals.
Why don't you just give us a little taste? Give a little taste.
All right, so what you're gonna want to do is find some good fucking USDA certified fucking turf. And you're gonna want to get some fucking sunscreen, stay out of the fucking sun, right? stay hydrated, stay sexy, and fucking enjoy the goddamn show.
That's not bad. I'll
That's
give
not-
you the
Now you
Australian-
gotta go. Now you gotta go drink the piss out your shit.
I gotta go drink the piss out of my shit.
dude. Australian accent is really hard to do, so I'll give you that. That was very good.
You want to know something that's really sad? This is I used to work it out. I don't even know if you know what Outback Steakhouse is over here.
Yeah, well, we've got ones here.
Oh, you do?
Oh,
Nice.
I don't know name, but whatever. Like,
well, okay. So obviously the Outback Steakhouse here is like it's like an Australian themed like steakhouse. Okay, whatever.
It's
I'd make-
Australian for Outback.
I'd make extra fucking money when I did the accent for tips. I was like, fuck, I'll be your bitch. Let's go.
I'll make fun of myself all night. Just please. pay me.
Did you say you got an extra tenner on you? Let's fucking get it.
I'll make this authentic for you.
Here's your fucking blimmin' onion. Leave me the fuck alone.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man. I'm not. I can't say anything about that.
Well, that's true. All right, this next segment is called the obscure question segment. This has nothing to do with music at all. No, nothing. So
The rest of the podcast,
buckle off.
we've evolved past music. If we're traveling at the speed of light, can we see the light particles floating in place, or can we not see anything because light is not reaching our eyes?
I mean, like, you ever seen when they like go hyperspeed, man? Have you ever like seen that in Star Wars and their fucking head just becomes like a line of light? Do you think you're seeing
Yeah.
anything when that happens? You're just gonna be like some sort
So
of like,
they're not going light speed. Not
What
that
is-
I'm aware of. They're going warp speed.
but what's
Oh.
warp speed then?
Well, I don't
I don't-
fucking know, but if they're still seeing light clearly slower than the speed of light,
I don't
Like
think
a-
they see anything.
because like light is still particles. Like light particles are still a thing, right? So if you're going as fast as light, do you see them just like floating there, or
I'm
can
gonna
you
say-
not see anything because it hasn't hit your retina yet?
I'm gonna say yes because when I took acid, I saw fucking that, and I reckon that
I saw fucking everything.
I reckon it's the same kind of vibe, you know, because like that's why I'm gonna put that out there. So I reckon that's how it's gonna work.
Okay, so
That's fair.
if there's any scientists listening to the podcast, you shoot us a DM or comment on the post or comment somewhere. Comment below.
Hey, even
somewhere.
if you're not a scientist, give us your fucking opinion.
Yeah, let's
let's
get your
make
opinion.
this happen. All right.
Or anyone that's done an obscene amount of acid in one go.
All right. Last question. You ready? Give us one good reason why the number 11 exists and isn't called 1T1.
And that's 11, 11, 11. Or if you're American, that's 11, 11, 11, right?
I guess I'm gonna be really honest with you, man. I don't want to like pay out your question or anything, but how the fuck else would you delineate between 10 and 12?
1T1.
Well, I mean,
1T0.
That's your decision. I mean, you can call it 1T1. I'm not like shit's always been called different names at different times. So like, you can go for it, man. You get-
Must
I
be an
think we-
international difference.
I want to see like one of those obscure videos. Maybe Bear, maybe you can make one after this, or somebody can make it for us. But it's like, it's like a counting video done on like Paint Shop Pro. It's like 1T0,
1T0,
1T1,
1T1,
1T2,
and then 13.
13, 1T4.
Well, that was it. That was that whole segment.
That was our obscure question segment. Sometimes they hurt.
Yeah. Well,
Sometimes they hurt the brain a little bit.
I got
the
nothing to fight you with that 1T1. Like, honestly, man, you do you, boo. Whatever you want to say.
thank you.
I'm
No,
not gonna-
your positive words of affirmation are really filling me up right now, and I'm gonna go fucking, I don't know, do something with that energy.
I'm glad it's that. That's
I'm gonna
filling
go
you
write a
up.
shit song. You know what I mean? Like it's
You're gonna write Wonderwall again.
again, yeah.
Fuck that song, man.
I kind of like that song. But Bear 100% likes that song though. Like for sure. He can't defend himself yet, but he for sure likes Wonderwall.
Wonderwall's a song you like at 13, and then you get over it because you realize it's
No. Bear for sure likes Wonderwall right now.
I'm looking at him right now, and I'm getting worried about his.
So I don't appreciate the amount of truth that is in that statement, or the accusation, even though it is true.
The only reason I have the accusation is if you know as much about Bear's musical taste as I do, because there was a very long tangent a few episodes ago about how much he loves Rob Thomas and like
That's
Matchbox 20.
That's cool. Santana, Rob Thomas. That's a song.
And it's great. And it's great. Don't get me wrong. I just knew that Bear for sure liked Wonderwall.
Oh, dude. Like, okay, don't get me wrong. It's not on like repeat, but like, oh yeah, it's got a place.
I think
got a
that
fucking place.
And here's like, first off, I really like 90s alt rock, like just a lot. But I do think that there's certain bands that anything other than their like major hits are
trash.
Basically unlistenable.
Agreed.
And I do feel that is the case for
Oasis. I agree. But here's another one that I'm gonna hit you with. Okay. What I like more than Wonderwall is the Wildflowers.
Oh, Wildflowers are Wallflowers.
Sorry, not Wallflowers. The Wallflowers. And it's not even One Headlight. Like, that's not my favorite song.
One Headlight's a good jam, though.
It's a good jam. But now I'm like literally spacing on the fucking name of the song.
I'm a virgin to this band, so.
You're what?
You what?
I'm a complete. You heard me, man. I'm a complete virgin to this band.
Dude, it's Bob Dylan's kid.
It's my
It's Bob
the
Dylan's kid.
Wallflowers had like a really major hit in the 90s called One Headlight.
One Headlight. Come on, drive a little. Whatever the fuck it. Nothing is forever. There's got to be something better in the middle. Is Zoom asking if I'm singing?
No, it's yeah.
What's better than One Headlight though is 6th Avenue Heartache.
Oh, 6th Avenue Heart.
Oh,
that's a good one, yeah.
All right, I just saw the little humps there in your screen. I knew exactly what it was.
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at those. Yeah. Mm.
Is that how you get them shoulders? You just kind of like lift it up.
He does have good shoulders.
Yeah. It's like.
Are there any like thick people in Australia, or are they all just like as handsome as you?
Oh man, jeez, you're gonna get me moving over to Wisconsin just to
There is enough of me to go around, my friend.
With all of those niceties. No, we're not all bronze like I'm looking now. So no.
Well, you know what? Okay.
You could replace all your pictures of Don Cheadle with pictures of Rhys.
Do not tempt me.
Ones? Like dress up as a fireman, like just undies or something.
Nope, I'll just find them.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's how I got the photos of Don Cheadle. I just found them.
Like that, the pictures in the back there. There's like 3 of them, and they're all just pictures of the actor Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle.
Love it, man.
Yeah, me too. That's why it's on my wall.
Love your heart, man.
Thank you. It's God given, you know. All right. This is what we like to call rapid fire question segment. This is a oh Pat, fuck, how did you put it the other day?
No. This is okay, hold on.
How did you do it? No,
we figured it out.
This is yours.
This is the tagline.
Yeah.
We said it pretty much every episode, I found out. So it's just what we got to stick with now. This is rapid fire questions where I want you to, speak from the heart and shoot from the hip.
There it is.
All right. Yeah.
God, it's a sexy saying. Pat, you're
just
hot.
you're not gonna think. We're gonna ask the question. You're just gonna answer. Are you ready?
Born ready.
All right, let's do this. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
It's a big yes.
Nice.
Yep.
MTV or Fuse?
I don't know. MTV. Just for Cribs. Cribs is sick.
Yeah.
Cribs was sick.
Wasn't Pimp My Ride on MTV too?
Oh, that was sick as well.
With Exhibit? Yeah.
Exhibit is sick.
Well,
actually, another really great one that I wonder if you guys even remembered. I just watched some of it today. Punked.
With Ashton Kutcher.
Yes.
Oh,
Punked.
oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go watch
good.
some reruns.
Dude, it's on YouTube. Look it up. Like
All of it.
yeah,
All of it?
Punked is on YouTube for the MTV Vault. Like you can watch full episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to know what else is on YouTube real quick as a side tangent?
Huh.
You can look into some crazy shit about like how the life of Cars, like the Pixar animation movie, how that
Yeah.
actually works. Like if cars are people, what are the tractors? You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit. You can yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it'll fuck you up.
Oh, you guys should go and look up how Back to the Future predicted 9/11.
I've seen that.
Pines Towers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That shit will fuck you up, man. You just
Dude.
sit there one day and you're just like, did they?
never been the same. All right, Pat.
There's some pretty intense stuff you can find on the
Oh,
old
dude.
YouTubes.
Yeah. Like hell, we found
right.
some cool shit about history and the Freemasons.
Yeah.
Oh.
True. Yep. All right.
It's like, yeah.
Moving
Moving on.
We're getting too far, but you got a person in the back there. Just, it's scared that not you, Bear. Rhys. Scared the shit out of me. I was like, what is happening? But yeah.
They're hot too. God,
That's
everyone's good looking in Australia.
At least in that house. All right.
Yeah.
PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation. I had the first PlayStation. Gotta go.
Yeah, gotta go
I had the
PlayStation.
controls right as well. Like the Xbox ones are like trying to molest a cube, man. It just doesn't work.
Now, this question I think is a little bit of a doozy to me. Is a sweatshirt a sweater?
What is a sweatshirt? Do you want to? Can we start? Like, I don't even know.
Well, me and Bear are wearing sweatshirts.
Well, but these are hoodies.
Jumper. That's
Well,
a jumper.
yeah, hoodie.
It's a
That's
what?
We call that a jumper in Australia. It's a
A
jumper.
jumper?
A jumper. Do you find a lot of people jumping these?
No.
Well, in America we have jumpers too, but those are
They are not this.
those are the ones that are like the shirt and short combo?
Shirt
like-
and pants combo. Shirt and short is a romper.
Shirt and pants, like where it's all one thing.
Yep, that's a jumper.
That's like a onesie. Is that a onesie? You guys are talking about
Well,
onesie.
that is
Well,
also a onesie.
it's also
but
onesie, but-
onesies you wear for bed at
Yeah,
bed.
for like pajamas.
Oh, well, I mean, that's your personal opinion. I can wear
It's not just mine. There are plenty of ladies
Yeah, I'm
at
not gonna
Walmart
go
that do
out
it,
with
too.
my penguin like looking onesie. You know what? Oh, fuck it. Yeah, I am.
Oh yeah. Now you will.
Yep, absolutely.
See, I kind of figured that this one might
I throw him for a loop.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Tom DeLonge or Matt Skiba?
Tom DeLonge.
Yeah.
I love Steve-O, but he just didn't really slide in there with Blink the way I would.
Yeah,
I
so don't
love
get me wrong.
Alkaline
I
Trio,
love
Matt
Alkaline
Skiba.
Trio.
Me too, man. I love him, but yeah, it's not the right combo for Blink.
Agreed.
Guitar Hero or Rock Band?
Guitar Hero, even though I didn't play either of them very much.
I was more of a Guitar Hero fan
Me too.
myself. I have all of them on PlayStation 1
Mhm.
still.
So good.
Yes. Last one. Newfound Glory or Simple Plan?
I'm gonna say newfound glory because people keep saying we sound like them, and to be completely honest, man, and I feel like this is a really dirty secret, but I never really got into them. So, but I'm still gonna pick them over Simple Plan.
Newfound Glory is one of my favorite bands, and it's funny because for my band, Newfound Glory was always one of my biggest influences, but it never got compared to them. Which maybe I'm just really bad at emulating.
Maybe just stop liking them, and then you'll get compared to them because, we're not a particularly big Newfound Glory fan kind of band, and for some reason it's always like, you guys sound like them. It's like, kind of want it to be like Blink. So if we could,
if you could like change your opinion just real quick.
If you could pick just another generic, like one of the
Dude,
biggest
But
bands.
we had this conversation like again on this podcast where it's like literally you just have to remind somebody of the band that they liked, kind of, and they'll like compare it to you. Like it'll be like, oh, you sound heavy, kind of like Metallica. It's like, no, we sound nothing like Metallica.
Oh yeah, you guys are really heavy. You remind me a lot of Disturbed.
Yeah, and meanwhile, it's like fucking Gideon or something, and you're just
At
chugging.
no point did I at all.
Yeah,
I fucking didn't.
Excuse you. Okay.
Have you guys heard the vocal only version of that?
Yes, it's insane.
It's fucking uncomfortable, man. It makes me really uncomfortable. Like
That's the worst kind of goosebumps right there.
That's the
Trust me,
answer.
man. The uncle ones until you've experienced them.
God damn it. That's 3 disclaimers.
He's like, now fuck.
It's like, this is your podcast.
I'm joking.
Hey!
Interpret how you will.
All right, man. Well, you did it. You made it through the podcast. This is it. Congratulations. We're going to ship you a cookie, I think.
Greatest achievement of my fucking life. I'm telling you right now.
Oh.
It's been a pleasure. Absolute
Well,
pleasure.
The greatest achievement of
Achievement?
your achievement of your life will be eating that cookie once it
Once it
arrives,
arrives.
because it's gonna be bad at that point.
Yeah.
Is it an
well.
official cookie?
So we have this thing where we're playing around with this idea. It was like, what if we could like contact the people that we have on our podcast, like contact someone close to them or someone who lives with them, or like a mom or a wife or a girlfriend, like, or a boyfriend, like what, somebody, right? And just be like, hey, we're shipping you a cookie.
Yeah, we're gonna
And
ship you.
we're gonna
something.
text you like when
At
you
the
need
end.
to bring the cookie in. And then be like,
Yeah.
oh, you made it to the podcast. Here's a cookie. And then the cookie's just delivered to you.
Dude, that'd be real good. It's like the phone call's coming from inside the house.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe by season 3 we'll have gotten to
We'll
the
have gotten
point
this
of being
cookie
able to-
science down.
Yeah.
Wait,
Well-
I gotta tell you, we got a knock on the door once, right? And we like walk out the front and there's just these cookies, right? Seriously. There's these cookies, 4 of them, and they're like chocolate chip, and it's like, here, have these. And then written like wrong, like misspelt was P.S. These aren't poison. And we're like, bring him in, and we're like, man, I'm fairly certain this is from next door, but like, fuck, man, like, this is something really sus about like getting cookies that say P.S. These are not poison, and the poison's misspelt. So, and we're just sitting there like, fuck it, let's just
Right,
go
like
for
it was
And
a
then I
joke,
look up
but
and
then
they're
it like
just peering out the window.
yeah, misspelling poison really tricked him.
He felt like it was just like it was one of our kids or something. You know, we really tricked him.
Well, man, you did it. So there's one more thing that we want you to do before you leave this podcast, and that is promote your band, promote your brand. Where can we find you? Where can we listen to SoSo? What you guys got going on in the future? Let us know everything. Let all of our listeners know who you guys are, what you do, and what you got going on.
Right. So we are SoSo. We're a punk band from Sydney. We're most active on Instagram at SoSo Punks, PUNX. We have a full EP ready to go for everyone. It's very sexual. I find myself listening to it a lot. Mostly when I'm looking at my drummer, Mr. Tom Doy, just because he is just that attractive a male. And we want you to experience that. So please come and listen to us on Spotify, give us a follow, and the more people that get behind us, the quicker we release this thing, and the quicker that you can also listen to this EP and look at Tom Doy and think, there's a sexual man.
I just kind of want to I want to leave it at that. Like, he's a sexual man, and then just end the podcast.
Yeah, just
There's a sexual man. Outro.
Yes.
All right, man. Well, thank you for being on the podcast. We really appreciate it. And guys, we will catch you next week.
Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe. Thank you to those who already are. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, or anywhere else you stream your podcast. If you're in the position to help us grow, head over to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/unsignedpoppunk. Let us know in the comments below who you'd like to see on the show and what other content you'd like to see. Thanks so much.